Remember how I read like 20 books in August? This stack is not gonna compare. Hi everyone, my name is Julie. This is Keep Calm with Books and Coffee, and this is the September wrap up today. Before I get into that too much, I wanted to say thank you to all of you for joining me on this channel because we have hit 500 subscribers, which is such a cool milestone. So thank you very much. I can't believe there's 500 of you out there that have decided to watch my videos at some point in time. And I am thinking about doing a get to know me tag or some sort of Q&A for this milestone because it means we have a bunch of new people here on the channel. I have not done one of those in a while. So if you have any burning questions about me or about this channel, let me know down below and I will do my best to answer them in an upcoming video. But yeah, so let's jump into the books that I read this month. There is not a ton. I had a pretty slumpy reading month in September, so it's going to be a little slim, but I did enjoy a lot of what I read, so there is that. I said in July that I was going to try to start doing these in the, like, from my lowest rating to my highest rating, so I'm going to do that this month and try to continue that trend. I didn't do it in August since the wrap-up was simply just overwhelming. So the book that I DNF'd was My Plain Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. I'm sad that I DNF'd this because I really remember loving the other Jane, or the first book in this series, but I should have read these much sooner. Like, I should have read these much closer together so that I would enjoy them because I simply don't read a lot of YA anymore. So me DNFing this book more had to do the fact that it was a YA novel and I am just tired of some of those tropes and some of that like predictability, and that's on me as like an adult sometimes reading YA. So this book didn't really do anything wrong, I just didn't want to read it. Next up is A Perilous Undertaking by Deanna Raybourn, and this is the second in the Veronica Speedwell series. In the first book, we are following Veronica as her guardian dies and she leaves after almost getting kidnapped, and then the people that rescue her are murdered, and she has to try and figure out what happened while working with some new friends and trying to prove themselves innocent of this murder. In the second book, Veronica is pulled into an investigation of a man who has already been convicted and sentenced to death, and someone wants to have her investigate if he was really responsible for the murder. I enjoy these books so much in so many ways, but there's something that really bugs me about Veronica's character. It's the level of not like other girls that she is. Consistently throughout the text, we mention how she is not like other women. She like kind of, even though she consistently puts down other women and then tries to reason out why they're not like her, and it sort of irritates me. It comes up enough in the text that it drives me crazy, and this like causes a demerit on the book. But I like so much of the other stuff. I like the setting, I like the other characters, I do like the mystery and how they go about investigating. I do like the like slow burning romance that are happening between her and Stoker. I like a lot about this book, but it's just when we get in Veronica's head and she is putting herself above other women that annoys me. And I feel like I didn't notice it as much in the first book, so I don't know if it happened more often in here or if I was just noticing it more. But I will be watching this in the books coming forward because I would like it to decrease a lot, and we'll see what happens, because pretty much I don't have complaints about this book other than that. Like, it would be a solid 4-star book if not for that part of the story. Next, I'm going to talk about the weird book that I have to talk about, and it's not weird the book's fault, it's weird the way I read its fault. It is Knockout by Sarah MacLean. I have read a couple other Sarah MacLeans, namely the Bare Knuckle Bastards series, and this is the third in the Hell's Bells novels. This was a indie book club pick for my local bookstore for their romance book club. I really enjoy romance book club, so I was trying to finish this in time, and unfortunately I had about 100 pages left. After going to book club and listening to everyone talk about this, we all pretty much said that we wish we had read the first 2 books before we read this one. Even though this is technically a standalone, we were intrigued enough about the background and they referenced the history of these characters enough that we really wanted to have read those first 2 books first. So since I didn't quite finish the book for book club, I am going to go back and reread, or not reread, but read the first 2 books before finishing this, and maybe even reread this. But I wanted to mention it because I was really enjoying this book and I was having a good time with it, and we all really liked it at book club, but I just needed, I wanted a little bit of credit for reading 300 pages of this book, even though I didn't quite finish it. So I'll go back to this. This is like it's not a DNF because I am planning to go back to it, but it is a like holding, it's in holding right now because I want to read those first other books, and I wasn't in the mood this month to read more. Then we have Vision in Silver by Anne Bishop. This is the third book in the Others series by Bishop. In this, we're following Meg Corbin, who is a blood prophet. When she breaks her skin, she sees prophecy, and she ran away from the people who were keeping her hostage and using her as a blood prophet in very disturbing ways. And she runs away, ends up in what is known as a courtyard where supernatural creatures have free reign and have much more power in this world than they do in a lot of other books. So the humans have to abide by the others' rules, and when Meg ends up in this courtyard, she is protected there. That's where we start the story. We are 3 books in now, and I can't tell you about what's going on in this because after the second book, it's very deeper into the plot. I really enjoy these books. I really like the audiobooks, and I think what's so interesting about these is that for some authors, I don't like how they sort of set up all the dominoes and then push over the plot and make everything scatter, but that's sort of what happens with these books. We get a lot of little threads about what's happening in the courtyard and in the human city, and then out in the like we have a bunch of different locations that we're sort of building up slowly up to a conflict, and then everything sort of happens all at once at the end of the book, and we are left with more questions for the next book. And sometimes I don't like that, but I think Anne Bishop does it really well because she gives you enough like morsels throughout the book, enough small conflicts, enough small interactions that you're putting this stuff together as you go with her. And I don't think it becomes you know too much and are bored while the rest of the story builds out. So I think she does this really skillfully. I really love the world building in this series as well. It's just so interesting. It feels like, once again, I love it when you feel like the city you are in a fantasy world is not the only city that exists. We are continuously referencing other parts of the world and other courtyards and others that there's so much going on outside of what we're primarily focused on, but it makes the world richer and it gives you more context and it creates a bigger plot and a more interesting plot, in my opinion. So really loved this, and I can't wait to read the next book. Then we have Sleep No More by Shauna McGuire, which is the 17th book in the October Day series. In the first book in this series, we are following Toby Day as she returns to the world of fairy after having a curse put on her for 7-8 years, and she is going back to the world in order to kind of reclaim her title as a knight, and she's sort of forced back into fairy. We are now this is the 17th book. We're way deeper in the plot. Things have changed so much over the course of these books, and I can't really tell you anything about this book, especially after the last book. Like, after the 16th book, I have nothing that I can tell you about this that would even remotely tell you anything about the plot. That wouldn't be huge spoilers for the entire series. So, anyway, this was a great installment. I really enjoyed this. What can I tell you? Once again, McGuire builds on the world that we're in this series. She builds it deeper and more interesting and gives us a lot of what ifs in this story that are really, really interesting to explore. And I enjoyed that part of it so much. I just loved this to bits. We continue to build the world and get deeper into the history of the Fae, as well as things that are the bigger picture of the Fae, which I just love. It's just so interesting to me how she continues to surprise us and build in this world. I do find myself, because I've read so many of these recently, like the beats of the story come about at the same time, so I really start to anticipate when something's coming or what something's going to happen. But I think you would get that with any series. Like, if you read or reread a series, you would just start to be familiar with the way the author builds the story and the way she's going to execute the big plot twists and stuff like that. So you just start to feel that in the story. But overall, I just really, really enjoyed this. I love the series. I love the characters. and I can't wait to see. We're gonna get another book in this series next month, this month in October, so I'm really interested to see where we go from here, because I can't tell you why, but I really want the next book. Anyway, that is everything that I read in the month of October. Anyway, that's everything that I read in the month of September. Like I said, this is a pretty short wrap up because I didn't read a ton this month. I'm hoping to kind of get my spooky reading underway today, but we'll see what happens. I'm hoping to share a spooky TBR with you guys this week, so keep an eye out for that. But that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see me again, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. If you want to share any thoughts or feelings about any of the books I talked about today, please let me know. And if you want to, if you're not feeling chatty, just leave me like I think there's a magnifying glass, like a spyglass emoji, something related to spy and mysteries down below, because I read a lot this month of mysterious things that we had to figure out. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.